All right, guys, this is the car we're going to be working on today. This is obviously a red mist C8 Corvette Z06, but it is a convertible, and we are doing a Mighty Mouse catch can. We're going to talk about the catch can yet again. I'm going to show you the install on a convertible because it's a little bit different, but I'm going to film the whole process because on the last video that I installed that catch can on my C8 Z06, I had some questions pop up about why I didn't film like me actually doing it. So we're gonna do that this time. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. Thanks for pressing play. Today, we are going to be installing another oil catch can on a C8 Corvette Z06 convertible. And yeah, you're coming along for the ride. So let's do it. Now, before we get started, I wanted to talk a little bit about this oil catch can thing again, because you guys have brought it up on my last video that I installed on my coupe Z06. There's always a debate about whether or not you need oil catch cans. And whenever I did the intake manifold on my C8 Z06, there was a ton of oil that was in there, and the car only had 3,000 miles on it at the time. So in my opinion, this is definitely something you should get. If you agree, I'm going to show you how to install it on a C8 Corvette Z06 convertible, because the install is a little bit different, but I'm also going to film the whole process so you guys can literally see from step A to step Z how to put this thing on your car and prolong the life of your engine. Let's do it. All right, so the first step, which is obviously going to be different on a convertible, you got to pop this tonneau cover up, and then we got to take out all the T15s on this cover here, because we obviously got to access the engine bay. And with all the bolts out, we can just take that cover off. There we go. So now you can look down in here, and that right there is the end of the PCV box. The other end goes down into the actual intake manifold. You can see the end right there. So those two, you just squeeze and pull them off, and that's where we're gonna put the new Mighty Mouse hose, and then the can will sit back here, but it's a different mount for the convertible. This is where the bracket's gonna go right here. So it's got a bolt up here, a bolt down here, and then the catch can will bolt directly to this part of the bracket here. So we're gonna put in these included hardware here, which is two 11mm bolts into the actual frame of the car here. But before we tighten these down, we're gonna go ahead and put the actual bracketry on here for the catch can. So this goes in the car like this. Like I said, 11mm bolt up here and down here, and then the actual bracket for the Mighty Mouse catch can will bolt to the back side of it, just like that. And then you can open this and take the can in and out. So for the convertible, these are threaded, and you bolt in through the back side with a included lock washer as well. And these are going to be an Allen head bolt. So we'll go ahead and tighten those down, then we can bolt these in. So here it is installed. Like I said, this will open up towards the engine. We'll put the thumb screw in there after the fact, but this will bolt right here, and that's where your catch can will be held. So from here, we'll put in those two 11mm bolts, then we'll start working on the PCV lines. This one's a little bit tight because it's right behind that bracket, but really there's not an easy way to get this bracket on if you install this back bracket first. So it is what it is, I guess. Get a ratcheting wrench like this. Okay, so these stock PCV lines, you can just squeeze the gray clip part of it, which is right there on the top. If you squeeze that clip, you can then pull it out, and that's the same on both ends. There she is. So next, we're gonna go ahead, stick the catch can where we think we want it, which is probably gonna be somewhere around there. Close this up and put the thumb screw in to hold it in place. Now obviously we can move this around as we see fit, but it's good to have it in place so we have an idea of what the length of hose needs to be cut to after we see where each one needs to go. So we're gonna kind of line up where the hose needs to go, minus the 90-degree elbow on the back side here on the PCV box. And then this one's gonna run up to this right here. So we'll need to measure it basically obviously before we cut it, we need to know exactly how much of this to cut off. All right, so the first one we're gonna put on before we make any cuts is the 45-degree angle one. We got a little bit of oil on there, so it will slide into this hose a little bit easier. These aren't super easy to get in, so be prepared to muscle them down. After that, we're gonna snap it onto the catch can and then measure this out and make a cut. We'll go ahead and with the quick connect, just snap this right on to the PCV side. And then we can measure this thing out a little bit better. So these do rotate pretty freely. And I have the can loose in here so we can move it as well. So from here, I'm gonna just kind of come down here to where I know this hose needs to go. Mark it with my finger basically. We're about right there. And now I know that's where we need to cut. So these are just a regular pair of scissors. These are not necessarily gonna cut this in a beautiful way, but it is what it is. So that's where we're at with the first cut. From here, we're gonna put a 90-degree angle quick connect on there, and that's gonna go into the stock PCV box. And here's the quick connect. It is now on the other end. So we will just fish this down through, turn it if you have to, connect it to the stock PCV box. Then we'll just go ahead, snap this on just like that. All right, so next we got to take this red cap off, which just signifies the fact that this is the intake manifold side. Next, we're going to take our 90-degree and snap it on there. Again, the can is loose, so we can kind of move it around, but that's ultimately where it's going to go. And then we'll measure this out to the PCV nipple right there on the intake, which is right there, which is going to put us right about here on this hose. So we'll go ahead and make that cut. The last 90-degree, again, it's a little bit oiled up, so we can kind of just shove it down in there. It's not super easy, but with a little bit of oil on there, you should be able to get it into place. Now we'll go ahead, again, these can still rotate to some degree, snap it on here, and then go right into the intake manifold. And as you can see, it is snapped into place, so we are good to go. Now over here on the catch can, we'll just rotate it wherever you want it and tighten it up on the thumb screw. Again, this is a convertible, so make sure this top is not sticking up above where the cover is going to go. But other than that, that is the install. It is done. So we'll go ahead and put the cover back on, and then we're ready to roll. All right, so this is the last part here. We'll just slide this into place. And then put all million T15s back in there, and we're done. And just for reference, if you haven't seen it, this is what it looks like on my coupe. But basically same kind of installation. The installation is exactly the same actually, other than this mounts slightly differently on the convertible. So once you get the tonneau cover back on, you can then just close everything up and you're ready to go, like I said. So anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Hopefully you liked a little bit more of a how-to on this. I wanted to show exactly what the steps were, how to get it done. And yeah, so if you liked it, smash that thumbs up button. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. And as always, stay obsessed.